So we're here with Tim Haggerty, the founder and CEO of Teaming Pro, another one of the 757 Accelerate cohort members. Tim, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks for coming
you for having
in.
me. Appreciate it.
So how would you describe Teaming Pro to people you meet?
So the way that I normally say it is we are I might get in trouble for saying this, but we're the Match.com for federal contractor teaming. And what that means is when a federal contractor wants to find a good teammate or find a teammate to help them win a federal contract, they can use our system to quickly and easily identify a federal contracting company that's active in the market, that has the right past performance. They can click a button and connect with them extremely quickly.
Okay,
basically.
Sounds like a pretty worthy problem to solve.
I really think so, yeah.
So besides you, who are the key members of your team?
So I am the CEO, and my son Ben Haggerty has been very instrumental. And he's played a couple of different roles, but he's kind of been sticking with the R&D guy lately. Although he has been showing some interest towards sales, and he's been showing some acumen actually towards sales as well.
So
too.
Father and son team.
Yes.
Now I've met Ben, and what's unique about Ben and this company and your situation?
Ben brings a different perspective first. And I do have another team member that just came on the other day, and I'll talk about him in just a moment. But Ben brings in another perspective that I don't think I could have gotten from anyone else without paying them a lot of money.
Okay.
And so he's honest. He's not scared to stand up and say, I don't like this and here's why. And he shows me a ton of maturity when it comes down to taking on his roles and responsibilities. And that's exactly what I would look for in any person who's going to come and join my company.
Sure.
And so he just happened to be, it's all wrapped up in my son, so wonderful.
Would it be inappropriate to tell the audience what he does with most of his time right now?
I don't know if you would want me to say it too much.
Okay.
I will say that he is emailing and setting up demos for me during English class.
Okay.
And he's not supposed to do that, but he gets on the HubSpot account. That's right. And he's setting up sales because that's what the kid loves to do. He's doing very well in school. He does the regular 15-year-old kid stuff. Yeah. But he is extremely active and very interested when it comes down to the business part.
So I think we covered that enough. But no, I find it fascinating, and what a brilliant kid, and so glad to have him as part of your team, right? And filling that void that you may not have been able to fill otherwise. And younger people often bring a lot more vigorous creativity to the table, something that maybe we sort of lose as we grow older and find out more about the world, like those imaginative things that you would come up with earlier in life.
That's true.
Maybe not so easy to come by at this age.
It's nice having that kind of resource. That's right.
So how do you guys differentiate yourself from the competition?
So right now, the federal contracting market. Okay, there are about 600,000 plus federal contracting companies any given time competing in the space, right? And we are the companies that are offering software solutions to these customers, we're a pretty unique group, let's say. You have your extremely big players all the way down to startups or smaller companies just starting to get into this market. We all offer something somewhat unique, although I believe that Teaming Pro offers something extremely unique in the sense that we are not dealing with business analytics. We don't deal with a lot of the other data that a lot of our potential competition is really focusing on. We don't deal with that. What we do two things extremely well. We automatically find you opportunities based on your company's profile. So we have an automatic search engine that analyzes your business as soon as you register, and we start serving you opportunities that match. Think of it like the greatest search engine you never have to maintain. Because as your company's going to grow and win opportunities, my search engine is going to grow with you. You don't have to do anything to maintain. It's always going to be
So kind
running.
of maybe like LinkedIn jobs in a sense?
Sort of to the sense that we are pooling big data in the same way that like LinkedIn can pull in big data, but we are doing it for the government contracting side.
Got it.
And we are sending those opportunities to you. So we did that extremely well. And then, but the one thing that we do really, really well is analyze companies' past performance on an as needed basis and we serve you up the companies throughout the marketplace that would make the absolute best, strongest teammates per opportunity. Nobody else is doing that. And so any company coming into the marketplace, whether you're a small business, and this is one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this, because small businesses coming into the market, they don't have a very big network. So if you're, and you need to team. Like if you're coming in here, you can't be a prime because you don't have past performance, so you got to be a sub. If you're going to be a sub, that means you have to team with somebody, and that means you got to go out and find who you're going to team with. So before we came along, everything's manual. You got to go out there, you got to shake hands.
Right.
So I wanted to help the small business, because a small business person, they're extremely smart, they know exactly what they're doing to build and grow their business, but they might not be the best at networking, or they don't have that network to fall back on, or they don't want to go out there and waste a lot of time shaking the wrong hands, because quite frankly, 98% of that time is wasted.
Yeah, well, it's hard enough just to build the operations of a company and all the plethora of other things you have to build.
What an excellent point.
Meanwhile, going out and shaking hands and networking, as opposed to maybe a B2C business where you could do e-commerce, and it's a lot easier to go out there and on Facebook run ads and things of that nature. But in the government contracting space, it really is a relationship, sort of marketing scenario, right?
Very much so. So we wanted to create a solution for these small business owners to be able to zone right in on the perfect connection, for them. So forget the waste. So no wasted time shaking the wrong hands. No time, effort, and money spent on trying to find the right teammate.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a list, nice and easy. It's almost like shopping for teammates, right?
Awesome.
So that's what we wanted to give to these small business owners.
Okay, yeah. And so do you. Are you focusing in on a niche, target market, like a niche of the government contractor segment?
Actually, that's a very good question. Okay, so companies that are dealing with services, they tend to team a lot more than companies that are selling products, right? So companies selling products, and I know a lot of companies that are selling products, they don't necessarily fit in our business model, because they are going to go in and they're going to fight it out on price, and they're going to fight it out on possibly features or whatever they're offering, whatever. So, but they don't team as much as the services companies do. So, companies that are, let's say, if you're like a high-end engineering company, you want to offer services to whatever government agency. And so you're most likely not going to get a sole source contract, or at least those sole source contracts are much harder to actually get. So you're going to go in and team with some other company that's either already at the agency you're trying to get at, which is something that we help you do extremely well, or you were just going to go team with some other companies that make your bid stronger. But services, a lot of teaming going on the services side. So yes, we are focusing basically on that part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so where do these customers find your product?
Yeah. So we are, of course, we're online, right? And we have a marketing effort.
Name drop.
Website. Name drop. Okay, so teamingpro.com. So companies can come right into teamingpro.com. We do have a software as a service. We're about to launch our freemium model. So I realized through some excellent feedback through the cohort that I'm a part of now, through the 757 Accelerate program, I got some excellent feedback from some of the other business owners on something that about something that I should have realized but I didn't, was the fact that if I want everyone in on my platform, which I do, I want everyone in, every federal contracting company to come and use Teaming Pro. If I want that, I have to have a freemium model.
Yeah.
And it didn't even dawn on me. So that's one of the powers of the cohort or the program that I'm in now, through 757 Accelerate.
Great. So that brings us to the next question. Was that a pivot? Have you experienced a pivot, major pivot throughout the cohort? That
was actually one of two pivots. So yes, being able to offer a freemium model, extremely important to everybody, because even though our prices are pretty low, like you pay $1,000 for the year, you have access to any teammate on the planet, right? Or depending on the number of licenses, it goes up to $3,000 a year as of right now, up to the maximum number of licenses. And so offering the freemium was a bit of a pivot there. The other pivot that I learned throughout this cohort program was, we have an opportunity on the enterprise sales side. So we have the much larger contractors who have a different need. They have a need to find small businesses. They need to find small business partners, because they have a mandate from the federal government to say 25% of your business must be given to small business, and here are the set-aside goals that we all need to reach, right? The federal government has those goals. The big contractors have goals. They have small set-aside goals. So they need to have good qualified vetted businesses within their stable, within their crowd, ready to go and to start putting on opportunities. And what I found is that these larger contractors, they have that problem and they solve it, but they solve it through a very manual process.
And which is expensive.
Yeah,
and
very time consuming, right? That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They do an excellent job, but it takes a lot of time and effort and money to do it. And so here now is our solution to where we can automate the vast majority of that entire process for a fraction of what they're spending right now. And so that was the other pivot, thinking, okay, I was purely thinking software as a service, small business, but let's see if we can help the large enterprise businesses too.
Right, okay. So it sounds like you're getting a lot closer to the product market fit.
Very much so.
So what was it that prompted you to choose to participate in 757 Accelerate, or initially to apply?
Sure.
And then, obviously you accepted and you're
Right.
well underway with the program now.
Actually, so I was extremely lucky. I got an email. We had won the 757 pitch contest. That was the launch, right? So the ODU Lions Lair.
That's right.
And we felt very good about that. Got to meet Senator Warner. That was awesome. And we got a picture, Ben and myself and a couple of other very strategic, very, very good people here in Hampton Roads with Senator Warner. And from there, I heard about the, that was sort of the
we were
launching
launching
pad. Yeah.
Start Wheel and Accelerate
exactly.
and the seed fund
So
at that event.
Thank goodness I was in the right place at the right time to hear about it, because
Hey, half the battle is just showing up.
knowing, right? And so, but in my true nature as an entrepreneur, I'm doing about 10,001 things at once. And so it did drop off of my radar because I didn't have it written down in the right place. But then someone sent me an email. It was I think it was the night before, that said, hey, the deadline's closing and I think you should apply. I'm not sure if I should say the person's name, right? But thank goodness for that email, because then I thought, yeah, I need to apply. And then I went through the application process, and it was a long application process. I mean, they asked some pretty detailed questions, and some of them I really had to sit back and think, like, wow, okay, which made me realize, okay, maybe I am not as fully rounded in terms of a corporate structure than I thought I was, and maybe business model or something else. And so even going through the application process itself kind of made me realize, man, this is something that I really need.
Yeah.
And
great.
so I was thankful for the opportunity, to be completely honest. And it was all sort of just kind of came together for me. Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you're often building the plane as you fly it, and that means you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
Until it smacks you on a idle Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. and then you realize, oh, I've got to figure this one out. I've got to cover this problem.
That's right.
And you keep moving forward. So as somebody, at T minus, 24 hours sending you that email to prompt you to do it, going through the application process, realizing why it's critical to go through a program like this.
That's right.
Right? So that's a great story.
Yeah, and I felt very lucky, and to be able to be in the position, and then also thank goodness Ben was already there with me, and then I actually turned to him and then said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and so he like, he's going to kick me on this, but he comes back and goes, really? I said, yeah, man, we need it. He goes, if you think we need it, if you really think so, let's do it. I'm like, man, all right, let's go.
Well, it's nice to hear as CEO, that you're listening to your other co-founders, so intently and getting that consensus before just diving into an opportunity like that.
Well, that's a great point too, and I mean, I'd love to speak on that too, just real quickly, because this whole thing is a big learning process, right? So, but without the right people, and there was a time to where I thought that, yep, I can do this by myself. There really was a time, and I truly believed it. And it was backed up based on my plan. But then the real world comes in and just kind of punches you right in the face and says, you said you had a plan? And then those kind of realities made me realize there's no way I can do this on my own. No way in the world. And so thank goodness I have guys like Ben, right? Thank goodness there are programs like this, 757 Accelerator, and with all the mentors, Evans, who runs the entire program, like who's the person in boot camp that just whips you in shape, right? Who is the sergeant or like whoever that is.
Right.
Evans comes in and has this incredible structure. On top of that, everyone else who's involved really reinforces the idea that going down this kind of journey is never a solo event. It can't be.
Yeah.
If you want to see any kind of real success out of it.
You couldn't be more right.
Yeah. So we have to be open to, okay, what do I not know? And really, this has really helped me grow as a person, which then helps the business grow, right? But and I'm to the point now to where I'm building out my team. I just brought on a COO. His name is Ron Phelps. And
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I couldn't find a more perfect fit for the position. He's very happy to be on board, and we're just going to rock this thing out together. But he is exactly who I needed, because I think I'm getting kind of good at recognizing my deficiencies, and that's part of what the job is.
Oh, that's
right?
so important.
So he fills in gaps. I'm talking to another gentleman that's on the enterprise sales side. He fills in gaps. I'm talking to a marketing person.
So that point right there, you often find founders are looking for founders who they, are kind of so similar to them that it doesn't actually bring any value to the equation.
Yeah.
So if you've got two people in a company and both of them have the exact same or extremely similar skill sets and knowledge background, one of them doesn't really need to be there. Right, so
that's a great point.
So it's really important to find co-founders that, or your first few hires that fill in gaps that you're just not good at, and really place trust in them and empower them to sort of lean on, that you can lean on them when you're not sure, and that their answer you're going to go with it, whatever it may be.
That's true, and. Just to carry that point just a little bit further is saying I don't understand the mentality or the idea of bringing somebody on that's like me, because I already know where I'm failing, in certain things. There are things that I don't know. There are things that I do extremely well, and I have a lot of confidence in those things, and they're backed up by past performance, and they're backed up by things that I know that I can do. And throughout this process, it just shines a light on the things that I know I don't know how to do. And if I brought somebody on who was like me, just because I like them as a person or like whatever else, then I think that does my company a deficiency, in the sense that I want to grow. I have goals that I want to obtain. And will bringing on this person help me get there? Bringing on guys like Ron? Absolute yes. We got the person on the software or the enterprise sales side, absolutely yes, because that person brings in exactly what I need. But to the idea of bringing on somebody just because they're like me or something. Now maybe I have a little bit of a benefit in the sense that I started out by myself. So maybe if I started out with one of my buddies, who I do hang out with some guys like me, and so maybe if I did that, maybe I would be in that position. So I'll
and if you find yourself in that position, it's not an easy one to break away from. So some things to think about for budding entrepreneurs out there that are looking for their co-founders or first few hires. For sure, there's a good way to do it, and there's not so good ways to do it.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background, like what led you here?
Sure. So I've been in federal contracting for 15 years or so. I used to be on the government side, so I used to be a GS guy. Interesting story. I don't know if you want to hear it. Okay, but I came from the private sector into GS, right? I had no idea about government services, no idea. So I negotiated a salary of GS 12, step 5. Okay, great. To me, totally normal. I get in there, come to find out nobody likes me. Because everyone, on the government side, when you're going up through the ranks, you got to start step 1. And it takes a long time to get up there. And here, this punk is coming in at 12, step 5. And I'm like, oh, great. So, I'm making friends right away, right? And it took me about a year to make 13.
Okay.
And so I used to be GS 13.
Were you coming to the table with specific skills that they were looking for?
Some, right.
Okay.
And
so it wasn't all the negotiation skills. It was.
Well, yeah. So I was able to leverage my background and doing exactly what they wanted to do, right? But As soon as someone explained the concept of golden handcuffs to me, I was like, what are, so the guy said, okay, through the pay scale, you will eventually reach a salary that you cannot match out, through in the outside world, based on, all these kind of points kind of come together, which means that, you're stuck. So golden handcuffs. I said, well, I'm not doing that, so I quit. And I took a private sector job, and I started building my career there. I love federal contracting, and I felt like my GS time was, I want to give duty to my country, because I never served in the military, but I have a strong belief and love for this country, so I wanted to do something. So I felt like, okay, I can give something back here. And of course, I got paid great money, but I really love that idea.
Yeah, it's so patriotic.
Yeah, hey, this is still the greatest country in the world, so right on. So why not do that? And I teach my kids that same thing too. But I put a couple years in. I went private. Been in private sector since. I have 2 software patents for automation platforms that I've written. I mainly write software solutions. I love creating software solutions for the enterprise side.
Are those patents applicable to Teaming Pro?
No. Okay. Those are just for ones that I created in the past. But I am a real big software geek when it comes down to automation. I love it. And so, like with the Teaming Pro platform, I automated the vast majority of the Teaming Pro platform. So we are continuously grabbing data from all over the place, right? But through these services that are automated, and it's pulling them in. We automated our customer outreach and our customer reach back part. We really have tried to automate as much as possible. So my customers, when they log in, when they see new opportunities, it's because we're grabbing the newest every 15 minutes.
Yeah. So it really sounds like this whole, Teaming Pro operation is just really fits with what you're good at, with your passions. It just seems like all these things come together and sort of at the right place at right time. Right. There at the launch event. So as much absolute skill and patience, tenacity, etc., that being an entrepreneur takes, at least to be successful, it also takes, sprinkling some luck in some right place at the right time. Wow. I never want to overshadow conversation about how hard of work it takes with the idea of luck, but well, every now and then a little bit sprinkled in can certainly help.
You bring up a really good point, and this actually made me think, because there's a gentleman in Virginia Beach who is someone I respect immensely, right? And he came up to me and then said, Tim, I'm a little worried about you. I'm worried that you're not going to be able to give away parts of this because this is your baby. And it really made me think, because from his perspective, I could totally see it. But it really made me realize that, okay, I've been sort of on my own for so long. I didn't have that network or that group, right? And so I'm used to doing that. I will go and do all-nighters. I'm in my 40s, and I'll still do all-nighters if I have to, right? I dedicate myself to it. Thank goodness I have an incredibly loving wife who is very understanding, hopefully still. I've been working on that every day. But so I have that kind of support. And so that's another thing that made me realize, okay, when I bring somebody on, I'm very slow to do that, because I'm only wanting to bring on people that have the same mentality. So Ron, perfect fit. Ben, very good fit, although the poor kid is really got to slow him down sometimes, because he's 15 and he has way more energy than I do anyway. But it made me realize that throughout this entire process, there may be people that are smarter than me. There absolutely are, and there are people that are better than me. There are people that can sell more than me, whatever. But and one thing that I learned, and the same thing that I'm working out throughout my entire team, you'll never, ever outwork me. Ever. Because that's ultimately, I think, what it really comes down to. We must execute. Mm-hmm. Now, I might not put out the most perfect solution, but I don't care, because I'm going to get something out there.
It'll work.
And I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And Ron has that same mentality. Ben's got that same mentality. And everyone else that I'm talking to be able to cut it and fit that actual grain will have that exact same mentality as well. So we work. That's exactly
Great.
right.
So just a few more questions before we wrap up. So can you describe how's the experience been with 757 Accelerate thus far? Has it really been helpful and you're learning a lot, I'm guessing?
Okay.
Some of this we've talked about already, but in a nutshell, how would you describe the program so far?
So
now that we're maybe 5 weeks into it?
Right.
Yeah.
I would definitely give it an A+, and then even more if I could. And with an understanding that this accelerator is a startup within itself. Right, so this is the first year.
Yeah.
And so we have a group of extremely well-intentioned people coming together saying, what can we do to make this work? With that, there's just like everything else. You're gonna test, you're gonna try, test and try, see what works, see what doesn't.
Build it as you fly it.
That's right. And so we're in that same environment here. So even with that, I have learned and have grown. Now this is the most important thing for me. I have grown as a person more, I think, in this last 5 weeks than I have in, I'll just count back. And the reason being is because I'm challenged. And I'm challenged to come up with solutions and answers and ideas and things that are needed that I somewhat knew I had to get to at some point, but through this program, it's like, let's solve it now. And that's done through the mentors, that's done through the workshops, that's done through every day when I walk through those doors.
Right.
There is something set up that says, guess what you're doing today, buddy?
Yeah, really high energy. I think there may be something, to be said about being the first cohort where it is kind of,
I think so.
Chaotic to some degree. It's probably going to be a lot more exciting than for the third or fourth cohort where everything's ironed out and, it's not so much of that chaos. But
that's true.
But I'm really, really glad to hear that we've got, quite a few very very good sound bites for testimonials for those follow-on cohorts now from what you just said.
I mean, all of it's true. I mean, I believe in being as accurate and as honest as possible, because I think that's what helps propel us forward. And so with this program, I absolutely feel just very lucky, first of all, to be in it. Because
you're melting my heart, man. This is really, really nice to hear.
Going through the interview process and passing all those hurdles, right? Just first, it makes me feel good thinking like, hey, there's validity to the idea, and and that's a question that I had for I don't even know how long because I of course I was doing that on my own, but it's so nice having experts on this side of the table look and then say, yep, you got something,
right?
You got something there. Let's see what we can do to help you.
So what's a specific need that we as a community, and that's what this whole thing is about, is building a stronger community, whether that's through 757 Accelerate and rallying around all you guys, or Start Wheel certainly
Sure.
as a go-to place for resources, calendar for entrepreneurship in Hampton Roads. It's all about building this community. But we've got to leverage that community to help one another out. So in that lane, what can we do? What can our audience do to be of service to you?
Oh, well, of course, and I look at this as a community-wide thing, right? Because I really feel that Hampton Roads could be a mecca for tech talent. And I really think that it should be, right? Because we have a lot to offer, especially for the person coming out of college, at any age level. I mean, we have if we had that kind of recruitment to let's keep getting these people coming into the area, especially on the tech side, then that helps guys like me, because ultimately we're going to scale and we're going to hire tech, and we're also going to hire sales, and we're also going to hire support, right? So we have all of that within our business model as well too. But really, like, one of the biggest things, and I haven't done this yet because I haven't taken funding to this point, but funding is a big deal. And we have an excellent start here in Hampton Roads. We have the 757 Angels. Right. We have a couple of other, I don't want to say groups, but at least individuals who have shown major interest in coming and then saying, what is it that you guys have, and how can I help facilitate that? And the really cool thing is, it's not just the money. Everyone who's been involved so far, the first thing that they ask is, how can I help? It's not, how can I profit from your idea? I mean, it's never that.
And that's paramount.
That.
You know, if we had a lot of quote unquote mentors coming at you to sell their services, you'd be turned off and run out of the room in a heartbeat, right? Yeah,
which is absolutely not not the case. But to answer your question, I think it's already started. I think this program by itself has been funded through multiple cities, right? So funding has already been, or coordination has already happened through multiple municipalities, which by itself, that's a major thing to get, a major hurdle, right?
Especially here in Hampton Roads, right?
Very good job. So I think it's already started, and I think everything that we have now, we just need to sprinkle in time and more funding ultimately, and more marketing to get the word out saying that Hampton Roads has this. And then everything else is already churning within it. So we have the start wheel, right, which hooks up all of these various entities all together by itself. And then I really can't imagine saying, okay, we need another program. I really do think we have all the answers ready to go. And now we're kicking it off, which is one of the most exciting times. Because I think from here, it's not like we're getting less tech in the world. We're not getting less data in the world. So I think us doing this here right now is paramount for us to just keep growing year after year after year. And as a result,
answers.
Hampton Roads can just benefit.
Great answers. So one last one, and this is what you can leave us with, as if you haven't already, shared shared enough. No, you're really appreciate the insights that you've shared with us here. Are there any books that you've read of recent or that have been really helpful for you to grow as an entrepreneur? Any books you can suggest?
Okay, so obviously the ones that everyone talks about, Lean Startup, all that good kind of stuff. One book that I poured over about 4 different times, and I have all my little sticky notes in, 4 Steps to the Epiphany by Steve Blank.
Yeah,
that was one of his first ones. Right? I had to read that multiple times. The customer discovery. Just as a set aside, there's an ICAP program that comes down here with Bob Smith.
Yep, look it up, Perkins. ICAP.
Yeah.
They're going to be running 4 editions next year.
Yes.
So approximately 1 every quarter.
Right.
I've been to several of the classes through in that program, and excellent. So
extremely
follow
important.
Look it up, ICAP. It's done in conjunction with ODU, the 757 Angels, and 757 Accelerate.
With a partnership with George Mason.
And George, that's absolutely right, George Mason. Yeah. And you can find all of this on Startwheel, startwheel.org. Shameless plugs.
Yeah.
So 4 Steps to the Epiphany?
Yeah, because they really talk about customer discovery and customer development, which is exactly what Bob Smith and his group dives into with ICAP. Which without that, and that's where every entrepreneur needs to start. And I learned that lesson after being punched in the face, kicked in the head, all that stuff, after building something I thought was cool, and then
nobody wants it.
Right? Nobody's willing to pay and wants to pay for it.
Right.
So learning those lessons, that's where everyone needs to start. So when anyone asks me, hey, how do I get started with this stuff? If you have an idea, go talk to who you think your customer is. Get out of the building and try to do that as quickly as you can.
Right. It seems so obvious and simple, yet so easily overlooked. Right? You've got this great idea. It's a very simple logical leap, at least in your own head, that everybody will want this thing.
That's right.
Then you you build the old model, the waterfall development model. You sink a few $1 million, if not $100 million, in building this product, and you unleash it on the market. And there's quite a few famous flops if you Google that. Some of those terms. But now this new revolutionary approach to entrepreneurship, and a lot of that, is due to Steve Blank and Eric Ries, Alexander Osterwalder, is really based on this idea of customer discovery. Get to know your customer. What are you in business for, if not to solve problems for customers?
That's right.
With the hopes of a profit in return for that.
That's
right. And so if you're not building exactly what your customers want or need, you can talk about Apple. Steve Jobs developed the iPod when the customer didn't even know it was a need, right? But in talking with the customers and asking hard questions of them and of yourself and your own capabilities, seeing where they match, you know, you can come out with a brilliant product like the iPod.
Absolutely.
Or a Teaming Pro.
Well, yeah, you know, excellent segue, by the way. But yeah, yes, you flesh it out. You get it out there. The less little dark spots that you have in your business model, the better. The more that we can truly understand what problem we're solving and who we're solving it for, then we really know what to build.
Yeah.
And so being a product guy, I want to get out there and build it first. That's my first instinct, you know. And I had to teach myself out of that. And Bob Smith was a great help in helping to do that. That book was a great help. I mean,
and Bob Smith from the ICAP program.
Yes, sir.
George
Yes,
Mason.
yes, sir. Yeah, and 4 Steps to the Epiphany. I mean, really, it's a wonderful read, and it's absolutely where every entrepreneur should ultimately
thanks for
start.
that.
Yeah.
So I would love to sit around and chat with you all day. I think we could absolutely fill the afternoon. I don't know if our audience would stick with us, but really appreciate the insights.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you spending the time with us.
Thank you.
Wish you the absolute best of luck throughout the rest of the 757 Accelerate program, and looking forward to following up with you afterward to see how the rest of it went and watch as you grow. So
wonderful.